Aloha class. So I wanted to do a video on 5-2, and so this is talking about a scatter graph analysis. Oki Products has observed the product costs and various levels of activity over the last 15 months. So instead of using a graph paper, you could actually use Excel instead. So we would type in all these points, and we're going to prepare a scatter graph, and then use the quick and dirty method. Plot the cost on the vertical axis and the activity on the horizontal axis. So if I have all my points in my Excel, here's all my points copied over. Instead of selecting these months, we want to just put the units produced versus the process costs, and maybe not have the months available. And so I'm going to select all my data points, and I'm going to insert. I'm on the Insert tab. You could do a recommended chart, or you could do that scatter plot. I really do want a scatter plot analysis, but I can go to recommended charts, and it said to put the cost on the vertical axis and the activity on the horizontal axis. So this is looking good for my scatter plot. And how quick was that, instead of plotting every individual point on a graphing paper? So definitely use Excel. It says use the quick and dirty method. Quick and dirty method is not as accurate, but it is quick and it's dirty, and you can get an idea of the data pretty quickly. So I'm going to insert a shape, and I'm going to insert a line, and it says use a ruler to try to figure this out. I can see a kind of basic trend line, so I'll insert my line here and try to make it look like where I think hits the most points. Somewhere around this area, I would think, it's hitting the best fit line. I would call this a quick and dirty method. And so yeah, I have my line drawn. It hits a lot of points. It looks like it's in this upward trend. And so for the quick and dirty method, and all of our problems, we have a mixed cost. Y is the mixed cost. Oh, just the Y. Mixed cost equals A, which is the variable cost. X is the number of units, right? Units. And plus B, which is our fixed cost, right? And that will be our our y-intercept, excuse me, our y-intercept. So like, where does this actually hit is going to be our fixed cost, right? So we have to overcome this fixed cost and then have this variable cost continuing on and on. So I would say this hits about 30,000. I mean, roughly, it maybe a tiny bit under, but I'll just say 30,000. That seems like a good estimate to me. So the fixed cost would be around 30,000, because we have to overcome 30,000 before we start getting into our variable costs. So fixed cost over here, and remember this is a mixed cost. It has a fixed component and this variable component. So now I need to figure out my variable component, and I can take a single point on this line, right? And so I have highlighted this one. That could work out for you. So 8.5 activity, and the cost is 48,000. So this point, maybe if I move my line up a tiny bit, maybe seems like a better fit. Oh yeah, right at 30,000, this point right here would be a good fit. This 8,500 units and $48,000. Do you see that point right there? I don't know if I can click on it. That individual point right there. Anyway, so I would need to know the rise over the run. This is where it starts to begin to rise, and I would estimate if I drew a line right across over here, that'd be the 48,000, right? 48,000 here. But I have this fixed cost, so I only want to know the rise over the run from the 48,000 from the 30,000. So 48,000 is where the highest point is, minus the 30,000 estimate fixed cost. And the highest point over here on the y-axis is the 48,000. We could get the difference of those, right? And so it is increasing by 18,000, right? If I went up here, it went up 18,000, and it's going over 8,500, right? 8,500 units. So to get that quick and dirty method, I'm just going to estimate how much is going to go up the rise over the run, probably what you've heard in math before, and so it went over 8,500. And we're trying to get this slope. So equals 18,000 divided by 8,500. My slope's going to be around 2.11, right? And so my final equation will be y is our mixed cost equals 2.1, maybe 1.2, we can round off x. So depending on how many units I produce, it'll be increasing to about 2.12 over 1, right? Our slope plus our 30,000 fixed cost. Yep, and that's the quick and dirty method. And you could check yourself if you got a little more accurate, you could put in a regression line, but quick and dirty is saying this is what, this is our best estimate if we're just doing a quick and dirty method.